Yesterday we were talking about this question for To Peach Their Own. What's something harmless that gets people weirdly angry? For me, what gets me weirdly angry is when a band just has an abrupt ending to a song. Like for that song right there that I just played from Adam. Is his last name Warren? I think it is. Adam, formerly of Oceano, and Kellen Quinn of Sleeping with Sirens. Adam has started this new group called Cloud Sight. And he goes by Adam on Earth now or something like that. He's a different guy. I tried talking to him on his Twitch stream. I tried leaving some comments, and he was kind of mean. He's a little standoffish. Wasn't the nicest guy. And then Oceano had their downfall towards the end there, and he kind of just gave up on the band. And now he's doing his own thing. He's Twitch streaming. He's playing video games. He's doing his own solo project, but this is the first track of his new project featuring Kellen Quinn, of course. It actually is a great song. I just hated the abrupt ending, just out of nowhere. Of course, it's going to build into another track, but since I didn't play that other track, it just has that very abrupt ending. All of a sudden, I'm on the air, That was Dead Stars, by the way, for my pick of the day. I talked about this, I believe, previously. I was going to release my picks of 2026 playlist at the end of the year, but then I figured out why not just share the playlist now, and every single time I play a track on the air at 2 p.m., I just add it to the list. And if people ever miss a pick, they can go to it and listen to it, or they can just re-listen to any previous picks they would like. So I'm going to share that Spotify playlist link in the K-Bear 101 Idaho Rock and Metal Facebook group. It is Hump Day, January 7th, 2026. This day is going by, this week is going by a little slow for me, because I know next week I have a whole lot of prep work I need to do. I'll be off on Friday next week, going back home for a week. That's if the weather cooperates. I did see an article pop up as I was on my lunch break. Up to 24 inches of snow expected for Washington, Alaska, Idaho, and Oregon. And of course, you see people in the comments that are going where's the snow at then? Or where's it at? Or they say something like, oh, good, we need the water. There's that comment too. We need it for the water. Anyway, if you want to get a hold of me, you can over at 208-535-1015. At some point this afternoon, I'll be giving away another pair of tickets for Ghost live at the Delta Center February 10th. I hopped on Victor Wilt's show this morning because he's not here today. I hopped on around 8:30 or so earlier this morning. Duke won tickets, guessed the song correctly. I believe it was Cenotaph that he got correct. Ghost bringing the Skeletor World Tour to the Delta Center February 10th. It's going to be a fun show. I'll hook up one lucky listener this afternoon with a pair of tickets to it. And yeah, Peach's Pit Party will continue here in just a few on K-Bear 101. Earlier on the noon hour of Madness and Mayhem, I talked about how today is National Passing Gas Day. We prefer to call it Fart Day. And there's these dumb little fun facts that I talked about previously, but then it also says fart walks are post-meal walks where you can pass gas, support blood sugar control, and aid digestion. Smelling your own farts can combat Alzheimer's. So if you just rip a nice stinky one and you do a little, and someone goes, what's wrong with you? You go hey, I'm not trying to have Alzheimer's when I'm older. Scientists discovered that the egg smelling like hydrogen sulfide found in farts can potentially protect your brain's aging cells against Alzheimer's. I mean, imagine that. Imagine being the scientist that found that out. Just testing that out. Hey, do our farts help with Alzheimer's? I don't know. Let's rip one right here in the laboratory. And then, they found out, oh, hey, it does, actually. National Fart Day, I guess. Cool. Let's do some Linkin Park. It's Peach's Pit Party. I didn't realize how old Pat Smear is. He's 66. He broke multiple bones in his foot in a mishap. The band declared a bizarre gardening accident early this morning. The Foo Fighters, their guitarist Pat Smear, is now forced to sit out a few of the band's upcoming shows after suffering a freak accident. It says bizarre gardening accident, and I was thinking, is that an innuendo for, partaking in the devil's lettuce? Is that what they meant? I would think it's funny that he just, when he was actually gardening, he just dropped a brick on his foot or something, dropped a cinder block, landed on his foot, I mean, still, ouch. Either way, breaking your foot, man. Let's hope for a speedy recovery, I guess. But I just saw that bizarre gardening accident. Is that something I'm not sure? I'm not sure what exactly that is. He'll miss several shows while he heals. I don't think that Foo Fighters concert's coming anywhere close. I do love how the Foo Fighters are able to make a joke out of it. Like they put out this whole fake tabloid breaking news. I mean, they probably used AI. Who knows? If they used AI, man, that anti-AI crusade, those people are about to start screaming about them on Twitter. Oh boy. I don't know what I was talking about yesterday where I briefly mentioned this whole story about this guy who decided to ride a horse into a Target. Shoppers minding their own business. All of a sudden, this guy comes through the door. I don't know what this guy's motive was, other than the fact he just got a whole lot of views, and now I'm talking about him here on the air, and it didn't happen in the area. He's getting national news. The horse did what horses do right there on the floor. Yeah, I mentioned that. Like the horse did number 2 right there on the floor. So employees aren't just dealing with spilled Starbucks and abandoned carts. They're dealing with a situation that absolutely did not come up during training. Now, the funniest part about the video is that the guy who is the loss prevention officer of Target, every single one of those people takes their job way too seriously. And I have never seen a person who's a loss prevention officer at Target not be like, you know what, who cares? I'm just here for the paycheck. No, they act like they're a real cop. This guy was so mad. He was so irate that this guy on a horse just came into Target. He's sprinting after the horse. He's sprinting after the guy. A horse definitely can outrun you, dude. Especially the guy that I saw. The guy with the thick glasses, very nerdy looking dude. He sees the guy on the horse. He starts going, gets all aggravated, runs towards it. There's even a girl who's like, I'm assuming the manager, that runs behind him to go try to stop this guy on a horse. Now, are they going to ban him from the store for riding a horse into the store? Probably. He'll probably get that letter in the mail saying, hey, due to recent acts, or due to a recent thing that you did, you're no longer allowed in Target just because he rode a horse into the store. I think the worst part about it, though, is that it did do its business right there on the floor. If you want to see the video, just look up like horse and Target. I'm sure it'll pop up. Trevor Lawrence led the Jacksonville Jaguars back to the NFL playoffs for the first time in 3 seasons, but the thing he might be most known for in 2026 is being lifted up at a bar by a woman. A video from a woman named Natasha has gone viral on TikTok that shows her running into Lawrence at a bar and asking to squat him. Maybe Lawrence can get Natasha to give him a lift when the Jaguars play the Buffalo Bills on Sunday afternoon in the wild card playoffs. There's your cheesy football joke. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers missed the playoffs for the first time in 5 seasons, and one player believes it's all about practice. Not Allen Iverson. Tampa Bay head coach Todd Bowles, is that how you say it? Bowles? Used a lot of walkthrough practices because so many players were injured. But linebacker Yaya Diaby, I don't know how you say this name, Yaya Diaby, Yaya Diabetes, said the practices that weren't intense enough to prepare the team for game day. Diaby said, we have to prepare to win. I know injuries are a big thing in this league, but being ready for a game is just as important as anything else. Me, I love practice. Is what he said. Me love practice. Allen Iverson would wholeheartedly disagree. College basketball insider John Rothstein is putting his wallet on the line to motivate one of the most snake-bitten fan bases in sports. The Nebraska men's basketball team is enjoying an amazing season, but the program has famously never won a single NCAA tournament game in its 130-year history. Rothstein has promised that if the Huskers finally break the curse this March, he will fly to Lincoln and host an open bar tab for the fans. It's a win-win for the analyst. He either saves his money when they lose, or he becomes a local legend for buying a round for a city that's been waiting for over a century to celebrate. That does it for your Shot Clock Sports Update right here on K-Bear 101. You know that dumb phrase, new year, no me. If that's feeling a little too basic for you, how about new year, new butt? Courtesy of someone else's old one. Yeah. There's a new cosmetic trend gaining traction called aloe clay. Is that how you say it? It's one word, ALLOCLAE. And the short version is this. Instead of using synthetic filler for like a classic BBL, some people are opting for filler made from donated human fat. Yes, from people who are no longer using it. This stuff is in high demand for Brazilian butt lifts, whole bunch of other stuff. Doctors are calling it the next big thing. Patients are calling it a lunchtime lift because it can be done without general anesthesia, which is wild because I don't know about you, but lunchtime for me is like a sandwich, not inheriting part of a stranger, And let's talk about the shopping list for this glow up. You need deep pockets, a plastic surgeon, and a cadaver. That sentence alone should have stopped the meeting, right? Doctors say demand is exploding, which is not the word you want anywhere near this conversation. And some clinics can barely keep the stuff in stock, which means somewhere there's a waiting list full of people saying, I don't care whose it was, just make it work. I've learned something very important from our sister station Z103, and it's that pregnancy cravings are absolutely unhinged. They're running this thing called Mama's Munchies with Mountain View Hospital, where moms-to-be are submitting their wildest food cravings. I'm talking combos that should not exist, stuff that would get you kicked out of a restaurant, but somehow makes total sense when you're pregnant, right? All you do is snap a photo, explain the craving, and enter it in the app, the same K-Bear 101 app you already have. I put the form up there. Z103 Mama's Munchies is what it's called, right there on the menu. If you're a mom-to-be and you have this wild, pregnancy craving, you can snap a picture of it, put in that description, submit it through the app. Z103 puts the craziest ones on air and socials. People vote, and the top cravings get recreated for Katie Lee to actually try. One expecting mom ends up winning a full nursery setup and a professional newborn photo shoot, which is wild because all this started with was with someone saying, hear me out, like pickles and peanut butter, that type of thing. So if you're pregnant or know someone who is, tell them to enter Mama's Munchies right now with Z103 and Mountain View Hospital. Enter right now through the app. So Google has this big search thing that tries to answer questions using AI. Basically, you type something in and it gives you what feels like a real answer instead of just links. But the problem is sometimes the AI just makes stuff up, right? We've all made fun of that in the past. People call that a hallucination. Not like tripping over your own feet, but like the computer confidently telling you the sky is green when it's really blue. And because this was happening enough that users were noticing it, like getting answers that were straight up wrong, Google decided to hire a bunch of people whose job is literally to watch the AI's answers and fix the ones that are off. They're calling them AI Answers Quality Engineers, which is just a fancy way of saying people who make sure the AI doesn't lie to you. It's kind of funny when you think about it. A huge company built this super smart system, but it still needs actual humans double checking what it says, almost like having someone proofread your texts before you send them. So yeah, Google is basically putting people in the loop so the AI doesn't confidently give you junk information. Simple as that, right? It's very weird. Like, how do you qualify for that job? AI Answers Quality Engineer. And where do you go from there? It's like you're just sitting there at the computer and then AI will just give you a bunch of wrong answers, then you have to fix them real quick? Or how does this all work? I would love to know. Working for Google, I've heard, is actually quite nice. You have a whole giant campus. I'm sure you get paid a lot of money. Imagine sitting there at the computer just proofreading. I know when I send voiceover work to Jade or whatever, if I send a script over to him, he proofreads. He should put in his job description, Peaches Answer Quality Engineer. Let's play some Devil Wears Prada, Everybody Knows, on K-Bear 101. All right, I've talked about my, not hatred, that's too strong of a word, my disliking of tribute bands a few times in the past. 94.1 The Zone, I don't know where that station's located. I should click on their page and find out. Rochester, New York. So I'm assuming this is a pretty big radio station. If you have a radio station in New York, that's the number one market. So they posted this contest: win tickets to see Stupefy, the Disturbed tribute band, at Del Lago all week on the Morning Zone Out. Do they really call their morning show the Morning Zone Out? Like you're supposed to be so bored you just zone out? Who came up with that title? But anyway, this picture of this Disturbed tribute band is quite sad. They tried their hardest with this, it's definitely meme worthy. I mean, it's gaining traction for all the wrong reasons. I see tons of people in the comments going, hot topic called, ew, what? No, the original one is bad enough. I don't even like the original. They're taking screenshots of the fake David Draymond guy's face and zooming in on it. I just think it's pretty ridiculous when you give away tickets to a tribute band show and you're a radio station in New York. I don't know. To me, tribute bands, they're so annoying. It's like, just if you can't see the real thing, oh well, the band's gone. Like the Beatles tribute band that plays in my parents' neighborhood. There's a steakhouse right by their house where they have breakfast with the Beatles and fake John Lennon goes on stage, fake Paul, fake Ringo, fake George, and they try their absolute best. And well, it's not good, but they try their best. Tribute bands, they're awful. I'm sorry. Let's do some Lamb of God to amp things up now. Sepsis. We all know what happened at that Coldplay concert when that CEO got caught cheating on his wife. Him and that secretary were having that affair. This guy is in a similar boat. He is suing a restaurant after a promotional TikTok video they made accidentally outed him for having a secret affair. Yeah, you heard that right. Here's what went down. The restaurant posted a TikTok to promote itself. You know, quick cuts, happy customers, smiling servers, the usual. It's supposed to look like a great place to go eat. But somewhere in the background, you can see this guy cozying up to someone who was definitely not his wife, and people noticed. And I mean, notice the clip started circulating because, well, people online love a mystery and a hint of scandal. Before long, someone in his life had seen it. And now he's saying the restaurant's video exposed his private business and hurt his reputation. Dude, you're at a public place, all right? Just like that idiot that was at the Coldplay concert. You're there at a giant gathering of people. And you're also a CEO who makes a whole lot of money. So I'm assuming this guy was in some part of the venue where most people don't necessarily get the luxury of going to. I'm sure he was in a box somewhere. And, you know, Chris Martin just funny enough pointed out to him and said, hey, like, let's put the camera on these two lovebirds. And sure enough, they made it even worse by separating and making things awkward. Well, I don't think anybody really freaked out about this particular video because there's nothing weird about two people cozying up to each other at a restaurant. I'm assuming somebody saw it in his life and then pointed it out in the comments, and then people all, you know, reacted to that guy's comment. So instead of just, you know, deleting the video, the restaurant, instead of just deleting the video and ghosting that lunch special forever, he filed a lawsuit. Only in the age of TikTok does a place just trying to sell you buffalo wings turn into a relationship plot twist. I know this guy's already going to lose. It's just so funny that if you're going to cheat, you shouldn't cheat whatsoever. But if you're going to, definitely don't do it at a public restaurant. And if you see somebody with their phone out recording a video, you might want to, you know, separate yourself from the other person. Just like that previous break, let's talk about something that happened that shouldn't have been on camera. This is one of those tech stories that's so hilariously awkward it almost feels intentional. Microsoft, in a recent Windows 11 ad that's all about gaming, shows someone's taskbar pinned with Chrome. You know, Google's browser, right there in the dock, except in the same breath, the ad is telling people that you should never use Google Chrome if you want the best Windows experience. Yeah, that happened. It's basically like someone recommending you never drink soda while they're holding a can of Coke in the shot. People online are having a field day with this because it's just so perfectly contradictory. Microsoft's trying to say, trust us, Edge is better, while casually showing Chrome sitting right there on the taskbar like it's the family pet. I wonder exactly who got in trouble for that. They all saw the commercial and its final cut, and they went, that's perfect, let's release it. They release it. Sure enough, everyone sees that. Some high-up executive yells at the lower-tier staff. Somebody's getting fired over this dumb mistake. It's pretty entertaining, though. It's time for What the Headline, and this one is a masterclass in taking a simple mistake and escalating it in the worst possible way. A postal worker in Florida facing serious criminal charges after police say he tried to run over a 10-year-old kid with his mail truck. Here's how this somehow unfolded. Investigators say the postal carrier accidentally delivered a package to the wrong house. A kid who lived there noticed the mistake, grabbed the package, hopped on his electric scooter, and tried to take it to the correct address. Good kid behavior, helpful problem solving. But police say the mail carrier saw the kid with the package and immediately assumed, yes, crime. And according to the investigators, instead of asking a question or checking the address or doing literally anything reasonable, the postal worker allegedly drove his truck straight toward the kid, ran over the scooter, and barely missed hitting the child, who jumped out of the way and hurt his ankle. And it doesn't stop there. Police say the guy then got out, pulled the crushed scooter from under the truck, loaded it into the vehicle, yelled at the kid as the parents came outside, and then drove away over a package he misdelivered. He was arrested days later, now charged with a whole bunch of stuff. The Postal Service is investigating, which is wild because this all started with oops, wrong house. Somehow that turned into felony charges, a destroyed scooter, and a reminder that sometimes the most dangerous thing in a neighborhood is a complete lack of common sense. That is it for your What the Headline today, right here on K-Bear 101. There's this former NFL lineman, Matt Kalil. He is suing his ex-wife, model and influencer Haley Kalil, over comments she made in a live stream about their private relationship. According to the lawsuit, Haley shared personal details from their marriage during this online broadcast late last year, things that Matt say crossed a line and led to public attention and harassment directed at him and his current family. It's funny because, well, what she said was not necessarily something that I can share with you on the air, but it's something that nobody should be ashamed of whatsoever. What she said was rather, I don't know, you feel like he would be proud, to say the least. The lawsuit filed this week claims those remarks invaded his privacy. They were used to drive engagement on social media. He's asking for a jury trial and damages in excess of $75,000. Didn't he get paid a lot of money from being in the NFL? Does he really need it? Haley's side says she plans to move to dismiss the case. Noting that both she and Matt are public figures and arguing that discussing personal experiences should be protected speech. She said the lawsuit was shocking and emotionally painful. Haley seems like a fun person overall. I've seen her videos on social media. Again, I just think what she said about Matt and some personal details, again, to say the least, he should not be ashamed of. If you want to read more about it, you can just look it up for yourself. I can't explain it here. Thanks for listening to Peach's Pit Party, the podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please share, subscribe, and rate the podcast. Peach's Pit Party is hosted by me, Peaches, a.k.a. Brendan Peach, and is a production of Riverbend Media Group. For more information or to contact the show, visit riverbendmediagroup.com. Until next time, Peach out.